Imam Jafar as-Sadiq Mosque Imam Jafar as-Sadiq Mosque. A suicide bombing took place on 26 June 2015 at a Shia mosque in Kuwait. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant claimed responsibility for the attack. Kuwait's emir arrived at the location of the incident a few hours after the bombing. 27 people were killed and 227 people were wounded. 29 suspects were taken to court, and after approximately 10 sessions, most of them public, 15 were found guilty, with 7 to receive capital punishment. Those included El-Aidan, who drove the bomber to the mosque and admitted his intention to bomb the mosque and claimed that he wanted the mosque itself to be bombed, but not the people, and Mohammed and Majid Arizona's Arani, who delivered the explosives to the terrorists in Kuwait and were arrested by Saudi authorities. 3 other Islamist attacks took place on the same day in France, Tunisia, and Somalia. The attacks followed an audio message released 3 days earlier by ISIS senior leader, Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, encouraging militants everywhere to attack the stated enemies of ISIS during the month of Ramadan. No definitive link between the attacks has yet been established. One attack, at a French factory, resulted in the beheading of 1 person. Another, at a Tunisian beach resort, killed 38. Most of them tourists, and the other, an attack on an African Union base undertaken by al-Shabaab, killed at least 70. Background: the only prior bombing attacks in Kuwait took place in 1983 and 1985, which caused at least 5 fatalities, the perpetrators themselves. Sectarian tensions have been generally low in Kuwait. The Imam Jafar as-Sadiq Mosque is one of the oldest mosques in Kuwait, located in the Sorabia district in Shia area, which is a part of the capital governorate. The mosque is attended mainly by Shia Muslim worshippers. This attack was a part of the strategic terrorism of Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, which considers Shia Islam to be heresy. In late May 2015, after the Qatif and Dammam mosque bombings, ISIL released a voice message calling on Muslims to clear the Arabian Peninsula of its Shia population. Bomb explosion. A suicide bomber attacked the mosque during Friday prayers in Muslim holy month of Ramadan, factors that made the mosque more crowded than usual. At least 8 people were immediately killed in the blast, which heavily damaged parts of the building. A witness said that the bomber entered the last row between the worshippers and detonated his device. Another witness, Parliament member Khalil al-Saleh, who was in the mosque during the attack, said the same. He added, "The explosion was really hard. The ceiling and wall got destroyed." He added that more than 2,000 people were praying there at that time. Victims: 27 people were killed, consisting of 18 Kuwaitis, 3 Iranians, 2 Indians, 1 Saudi, 1 Pakistani and 1 Bedouin. Another 227 people were wounded in the attack, of whom 40 were still hospitalized on 28 June. 8 of the deceased victims were sent to Peace Valley Cemetery, in the Shia holy city of Najaf, Iraq, by an official state plane. Responsibility and investigation. Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant identified the bomber as Abu Sulaiman al-Muwahhid, and said in a statement posted on social media that he had targeted a temple of the rejectionists, a derogative term used towards Shias. By the following day, Kuwaiti authorities had arrested several people in connection with the attacks, including the driver of the car that took the bomber to the mosque, and the owner of the house he stayed in, which initial investigations showed that he is a supporter of extremist and deviant ideology. The statement added that the terrorist arrived in the country on a commercial flight on the day of the attack. In his Instagram account, the arrested owner of the car posted pictures of him giving lessons to kids in a mosque in the Sulabia area. His account was suspended in accordance with Instagram terms. According to local newspapers, the perpetrators were told 20 days before to commit an operation that will shake Kuwait up, and let them choose the time and location. After picking the location, they contacted ISIL leaders about their plans via WhatsApp and email, and checked the mosque for a 2-week period. The source says that the explosives arrived at terrorists' house by partners from Saudi Arabia. Accordingly, the driver stopped at the parking lot of the mosque, along with suicide bomber at 11 a.m. Both of them waited until the mosque got crowded with worshippers. The suspected suicide bomber then went out holding a device, and when he opened his hand the bomb exploded. CCTV clip indicates that the suicide bomber walked into the mosque with his left hand crossed at his stomach. After the crime, the perpetrators were planning to escape Kuwait, but the rapid response of the Ministry of the Interior left them with no time to do so. The day of the attacks has been dubbed Bloody Friday by international media. 2 weeks later, Saudi authorities said that they had arrested 3 brothers suspected to be involved in the attack. On the 14th of July, the public prosecutor charged 29 people involved in the attack, including the 2 Saudi brothers, and 1 still at large. The public prosecutor demanded the death penalty for 11 suspects. Most sessions were public. 11 suspects were released after the 6th of August session, and the trial was deferred to the 10th of August to assign new lawyers to those suspects without legal representatives. After the trial, the lawyer of the 9th and 11th suspects stepped down from defending the 9th suspect, as his testimony contradicted that of the 11th. The lawyer of the 26th suspect also stepped down for private reasons. The first suspect's lawyer also stepped down, claiming the same reason. The first suspect's, Adel Aiden, made the claim that he wanted to bomb the mosque without killing anyone. On the 15th of August session, a lawyer was fined 100 Kuwaiti dinars for not showing up without an excuse, and another attorney was assigned for his clients. On the same session, one of the suspects' claim that he was tortured was refuted by the forensic medicine doctors. All sessions were public except the 4th session, and the suspects were able to see and contact their lawyers. Some female suspects were charged with hiding and destroying important evidence. For example, the 20th suspect destroyed Fahd al-Kaba's mobile phone. On the 14th of September 2015, the court ruled that 15 out of the 29 suspects had been found guilty, with 7 receiving death sentences. Aftermath. The Kuwaiti Emir Sheikh Sabah al-Sabah was on the scene minutes after the attack, as was the Speaker of the Kuwaiti Parliament, who called for an urgent meeting. The cabinet convened an emergency session later in the afternoon. Several pictures were posted in social media and local newspapers showing men smeared with blood outside the mosque, a row of victims wrapped in white body bags, and the damage the mosque received. Calls for blood donations have been made. After receiving sufficient blood, the rest of the donors were told to come back after iftar, the meal eaten after sunset that marks the end of fasting. According to a blood bank supervisor, the bank received 1,300 donors by the end of first day. The wounded were sent to more than 5 hospitals across the country. Several private hospitals announced that they will treat any victim of the incident for free. Stuttgart Hospital in Germany announced that they will treat the victims for free. Some of the injured were sent there. The German Vivantis Medical Group sent medical staff to Kuwait. Funeral. The condolence acceptance was held in Grand Mosque, the country's largest Sunni mosque, on Saturday the 27th of June. The Emir, Crown Prince, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, other ministers, MPs, and high-ranked officials all attended. At least 35,000 Kuwaitis, expatriates and mourners from the GCC countries attended the burial at Jafari Cemetery in Sulabakat. Paramedics were on site and helped those who fainted due to the hot temperature, which reached 45 degrees Celsius. Parliament Speaker Marzouk al-Ghanim said at the funeral, "The unity of the people of our country is incredible. If you look around you will see Sunnis and Shiites, Kuwaitis and non-Kuwaitis, all present to give their condolences to the families of the victims." Response. Local. All segments of Kuwaiti society have released statements condemning the attack. Kuwait's emir came to the location of the incident minutes after it happened. He was warned that it's dangerous for him to get out, to which he replied, "Those are my sons." The mosque's administration released a statement one day after the attack, condemning it and showing appreciation to the emir for coming, and offering their condolences to the emir, the crown prince, and the families of the martyrs. The Prime Minister, Sheikh Jaber al-Mubarak al-Sabah, visited the wounded and condemned the attack, saying, "This incident targets our internal front, our national unity. But this is too difficult for them and we are much stronger than that." The country's Minister of Justice and Islamic Affairs, Yaqub al-Sani, called the attack a terrorist and criminal act that threatens our security and targets our national unity. The emir ordered reconstruction of the mosque, although a few days before a Sunni business owner said his company is ready to do it for free. International reactions. United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon strongly condemned the three attacks on Kuwait, Tunisia and France. He added, "Those responsible for these appalling acts of violence must be swiftly brought to justice." The UN Security Council, President of the UN General Assembly Sam Kutesa, and the UN High Representative of the Alliance of Civilizations Nasser al-Nazir also condemned the attacks. European Union High Representative, Vice President Federica Mogherini condemned the attack, saying that the bombing, together with the attacks that occurred in France and Tunisia the same day, were stark reminder that no country and no region can ignore the challenge posed by terrorists. They aim at destabilizing our societies by spreading fear, suspicion, prejudice. Both Europe and the Arab world are targeted. Together we cry for our victims, and together we will stand against violence and sectarianism. Bahrain King Hamad Al Khalifa condemned the attack and expressed his condolences to the relatives of the victims. Opposition party, Al-Wefaq National Islamic Society, also condemned the attacks. In a statement released on their website, they described the attack as atrocious terror attack. Egypt President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi condemned the attack in a phone call with the Kuwaiti emir. The foreign minister also condemned the three separate attacks that occurred on the same day, calling them vile. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani condemned the attack and sent condolences to the emir. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Marzieh Afkham condemned the attacks. Iraq Foreign Minister Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid al-Sabah received a phone call from his Iraqi counterpart condemning the attack. Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani condemned the attack, expanding deepest condolences to the families of the victims. Jordan State Minister for Media Affairs Mohammed al-Momani condemned the attack. Lebanon Prime Minister Tamim Salam strongly condemned the attack as a heinous plot against the national unity of Kuwait. A press release from his office read, "The attack against a mosque in the holy month of Ramadan adds a new example of the extent of barbarism of saboteurs and the seriousness of their destructive acts in our Arab region." The Lebanese Islamic resistance leader Saeed Hassan Nasrallah debunked the attacks on mosques in a video, and added that Kuwait's and Kuwaitis' reaction to the bombing as an emir, government, National Assembly, political powers, Sunni and Shia scholars and ordinary people was a marvelous model, and he gave a salute to Kuwait. He then compared the situation with Bahrain's, when the government tried to benefit from the threats. Libya, the foreign ministry of the disputed government describing it as a plan to plant sectarian sedition and deal a blow to national unity. This act stems from a veiled intention to implant sectarian sedition and strike the national unity between Sunnis and Shiites in Kuwait. Malaysia, Prime Minister Najib Razak condemned the attack and offered his condolences. On his statement in Facebook, he said, "In the strongest terms, I condemn the heinous acts of terrorism on innocent civilians in France, Tunisia and Kuwait. These atrocities, which have caused injuries and claimed the lives of many in this holy month of Ramadan, are against the true teachings of Islam. My deepest condolences and Al-Fatiha." Oman, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs denounced the attack and all forms of violence and terrorism against innocent worshippers. Pakistan, the Foreign Office strongly condemned the attack. The people and the government of Pakistan wish to convey their heartfelt sympathies and deepest condolences to the bereaved families and pray for speedy recovery of the injured. We share the grief of the brotherly people of the state of Kuwait over this cowardly attack against innocent civilians praying at a mosque during the holy month of Ramadan. Saudi Arabia, Foreign Minister Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid al-Sabah received a phone call from his Saudi counterpart condemning the attack. United Kingdom, British Prime Minister David Cameron described the terrorist attacks as savage and a brutal and tragic reminder of the threat faced around the world from these evil terrorists.